Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I will share with you a very beautiful bag recipe that belongs to a famous brand. We will knit and prepare our bag with cotton yarn. This bag can be used in winter or summer. In other words, it became a very beautiful bag that we can use in all 4 seasons. I want to show you the model closely. Look, it is a very beautiful example. I preferred these 2 colors, beige and coffee. But you can do this work with the colors you want. Spaghetti yarn slim cotton yarn has many different color options. I want to show you the handle detail up close. Look, let's take a look at the inside of our bag. It is a very deep bag inside. In other words, it is a bag suitable for daily use. But if you want, you can use it as a beach bag like this. It is completely up to your taste if you want. You can hang the bag, or it became a really beautiful bag that can be used without hanging. I shared the whole production process with you step by step in the video. And at the end of the video, I share how much yarn I used. I also shared its measurement with you step by step in the video while knitting. I hope it will be a useful content. Before moving on to our detailed recipe, I would like to make a small request from you. I would be really happy if you subscribe to our channel for free, like the video, and leave your comments. This bag is really easy to make. I am sure that even those who are new to knitting can do it very easily. In fact, you can easily knit and prepare such a bag in one day. I hope it will be useful content. Let's move on to our recipe. I will use spaghetti yarn slim cotton yarn to knit my bag. I want to share the content of the yarn with you right away. I am preparing the mixture as 70% cotton, 30% polyester, 50 grams in weight, and 130 meters in length. Look, its texture is very soft. It is a very easy yarn to knit, and this yarn is really suitable for the bag. I will use beige and brown here. At the end of the video, I will also share with you how many balls of yarn I used. Look, I knitted 1 piece here. We will knit and prepare the second piece together. The crochet hook size I will use will be 2.75 millimeters. You can determine your own crochet hook number according to the thinness and thickness of your own yarn, the tightness and looseness of your knitting. I want to show you the texture of the yarn I used up close. Now we start with the chain first. After locking our first chain, we make our starting chains a little looser than the setting we knitted. Now I started with a total of 71 chains here. Now look, we used 22 of the triple crochet groups. It was originally 21, but since it was short for me, I used 22 of these triple crochet groups. If you don't want to bother with counting chains and want to increase the length of your bag a little, if you want to adjust after knitting, if you pull your chains too much, if you have excess chain, you can remove it by cutting or removing it. The best thing is to make your adjustment by pulling too much without counting. In fact, even when I started like this, 71 chains are enough for 22 treble crochet group, but I can also start with 72 or 73 chains like this. As I said, pull the chains too much since we set up the model in the first place. If there is excess chain, it will be easy to cut or remove it. Now I am pulling and preparing a total of 71 chains. Now I have pulled and prepared a total of 71 chains here. Now we are turning the reverse part of the chain, not the straight part. We will knit our treble crochets using these dotted lines on the back. Look, we are inserting into these points of the chain so that we get a nice look. Now we are filling our hook. I come to the inside of the first, second, third, fourth, fifth chain at the beginning. I left 4 chains. I made a loop by inserting into the 5th chain. I have 3 stitches. I am filling them. I wrap them together again. I am preparing the double treble crochet by knitting them together. I wrapped it with the hook. I am inserting into the next chain. Look, not the same chain, but inside the next chain. I am inserting into the back cut line and knitting the double treble crochet. I knitted the second double treble crochet. Look, the space there is our side post point. I am filling it now. I am coming to the same space. I am knitting my 3rd double treble crochet by coming to the same space. There is a nice starting tip here. I will recommend you to use this technique, especially when doing this kind of treble crochet work. Look, I am filling my hook. Now I am leaving a space at this point. I am immediately inserting into another one. I left a space. I am inserting into another one. I cast off a stitch. I am knitting my double treble crochet. I wrapped it around my hook. I am immediately inserting into the next space. I knitted the second double crochet. Now come back to the same space and look. I come to the same space and knit the second double crochet in the same space. So look what we did here. If we had knitted 3 double crochets into one chain while creating these double crochet groups, they all come together like this, and the 2 chain gaps here give us a very wide gap point. Normally, when we knit double crochet groups, we don't use chains in this transition between double crochets, so when the model is finished, in order to eliminate the imbalance here, we leave a gap in the middle, insert into another chain and knit 2 double crochets into the second chain. We knit by knitting 1 into 1 and 2 into the second. We maintain the balance in between. Look, if you are definitely doing double crochet work, if you are doing direct triple double crochet groups like this, I recommend you to start with this technique. This is also a good trick. Now look, I am filling the hook directly without a chain. I just skip a chain and knit 1 double crochet into another chain. I wrapped it, I knit 2 double crochets into another chain and prepare my group of 3. Look, I came to the same chain. Let's show it up close like this. By knitting 1 treble crochet in the chain and 2 treble crochets in the second one, we create our triple treble crochet groups in this way. We will continue. Look, I am filling with the hook like this. I skipped a chain. I am inserting into the second chain and knitting 1 treble crochet first. I am filling by knitting 2 treble crochets in another chain. I am completing it. Look, now we will have a total of 22 groups like this. Right now we have knitted 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. Let's continue until we have 22. Now look, when we count the triple crochet groups here, we have knitted 22 triple crochet groups. I am filling in our hook and look, I have the last 2 chains left here. I am leaving 1 chain and knitting 1 double crochet by inserting the other into the last chain. I have obtained it at the pole point here. I pull 123 chains, turn my knitting upside down. After turning it upside down, I fill my hook. See, I am leaving the first space. We will start like this every time I pull 3 chains and fill my hook. Immediately after passing the triple crochet group, we knit 3 double crochets to this point by inserting into the first space in between, 1 in the same space, 2 and 3. See, from now on, we will always work in between. We will start like this every time. There is no chain in between. We fill our hook directly. We pass the triple crochet group, insert into the space in between. We knit our triple crochet groups again by knitting 3 each. Look at the intermediate spaces like this. I want to show you, look, we started and now we will have a total of 22 groups like this by passing the triple crochets to the intermediate groups and sinking into the wide spaces between them. Let's come to the end of the row. Let's share the ending with you right at the end of the row. We have come to the end of our row. Now we will knit our 22nd triple crochet group. I am filling in our hook. There was a space we left here when we started. I call it the pole point. Now I am sinking into this wide space and knitting the triple crochet group. 1, 2 into the same space. This has created our 22nd triple crochet group. Now we are making 1, 2, 3 chains and turning our knitting over, and we will do this at the beginning of each row. We are making 3 chains and going up, we are filling in our hook and passing the triple crochet group, and we are inserting into the first space in between. Look, we are inserting into the first wide space and knitting our 3 double crochet groups. 1, 2, and 3. Look, I said we would start like this every time. I am filling in the hook and passing the triple crochet group. We will always work on the wide spaces in between. We need to create a triple crochet group in these wide spaces and have 22 double crochet groups in each row. Look, we will proceed in this way. Let's come to the end of the row as we have described. We will share the ending and beginning here with you once again. We have come to the end of our chain again. And look, we will sink into the last space in between. Now we will knit the 22nd triple crochet group. I am sinking into the space between these 3 chains and the triple crochet group, and now I am knitting 3 crochet groups, 2, 3. The row will end like this every time. Look, our row will end like this again. When starting the row, we turn 1, 2, 3 chains, we fill the red, we pass the triple handrail. Look, we sink in our first wide gap in between in the triple handrail group. We are starting a new row by knitting this. I am filling the red. I am coming to the next space and knitting the triple treble crochet group. I hope the endings and beginnings are easily understood. Look, we have set up our knitting base in this way. From now on we will knit 5 rows by continuing in this way. We knitted 1, 2, 3, 4 rows together. Now let's complete this to 5 rows. We will change color in 5 rows and continue knitting 5 rows again with the same technique. Let's share the color transition here with you. After knitting 5 rows, now we have knitted and completed our 5 rows here. Now we will change color. While knitting the last triple treble crochet group, I knit the last treble crochet and I knit the first 2 stitches. I do not close the last 2 stitches. Look, I am taking my new color immediately. Let's wrap the last 2 stitches like this with red. I take the previous color again and wrap it with a hook and pass it through these 2 stitches. Now at this point, pull 1, 2, 3 chains and tighten this point. I pull 3 chains and go up with a new color. Now at this point, will I cut the previous color? I'm done with this. I'm cutting my yarn at a length of 5 centimeters. We'll hide them later. I went up with 3 chains and turned my knitting. Look, I'm securing those colors by tightening them like this. After 3 chains, I'm filling in the hook. I'm continuing the exact same pattern. Look, I'm knitting a group of 3 double crochets by sinking into the space between them. 2, 3, a group of 3 double crochets again at the next point. Look, we will also do the color change like this. We will change the color every 5 rows at the end and beginning of the row. I hope it was explanatory. It is very, very easy. We continue our model by knitting triple crochets. Look, we started in 5 colors. Here we knitted 3 rows with my dark brown color. Look, each row consists of 5 rows for each color. We knitted 5 rows with 5 colors. I knitted 5 rows with dark brown, again 5 and so on. As you can see, we will finish with the last 5. We will have knitted 2 of this piece. Let's knit 2 pieces and complete them. Then let's share the measurements with you. Look, we completed our piece as we described it to you. 2 pieces by making color transitions, 5 rows from each color. We knitted and completed it like this. Now I will tell you the length of our knitting. Look, its length will be the length of this part of our bag. It is 33 centimeters. If I were to measure the width of our bag like this, it is 34 centimeters. Now look, we knitted both pieces in the same way. In this part, we are now making our beige finish. I want to show you how I did it right here at the finish. We don't have any beige work left here. We only used it at the beginning and in between and at the finish. Now after knitting the last double crochet, we pull a chain and tighten it by leaving a little bit of our yarn and removing it from our loop. Now I will continue with the dark color I used here in between, not the beige color. I am starting with a chain here. I have created the loop now. Look, let's check the pieces right away like this. The initial flat parts will be outside the bag. That is, it will be on the flat part again in this one. I am checking the piece in the same way. Look, I am closing the piece so that the wrong parts are facing each other. Now look, we have closed the wrong parts inside each other. Look, we will start from one end. We will combine our bag in this way. And finally, we will make the frame in the mouth part here like this. I am taking the loop right away. I have created a loop in a chain on my hook. I will start from this corner right away. And we will hide the short yarns right away. Look, I knitted the treble crochet here. I am inserting into the chain point. Then I leave a chain in this piece and insert into the other chain. I will hide these short yarns here last. I took off a loop from here. I knitted 1 single crochet directly to this point. Now after knitting this single crochet, I come to this intermediate space. Look, I am inserting into the intermediate point and knitting 1 single crochet. Now, while passing the treble crochet groups, I will make 1 chain like this at this point. And look at the intermediate space. We had intermediate spaces here. At the points where the treble crochet groups are, I will knit 2 single crochets at this point, 1 and 2. I pulled 1 chain. I'm not pulling it tightly like that. You can also make 2 chains if you want, but 1 chain is enough for me. I pulled one chain. I knit 2 single crochets by inserting oppositely into both pieces in the wide spaces between the treble crochets. 1, 2, I pulled one chain and came. I am inserting into the intermediate space and knitting 2 tight needles, a chain. Look, it is wide. I am not holding it tightly in my hand. 2 tight needles in between now, 1 chain and 2 tight needles in between. Look at the wide spaces, inserting oppositely into the wide spaces between the treble crochets in between. Now let's come to this end part. Let's share the return here with you. Now look, we have come to the corner point here. We are inserting into the wide space again. I knitted 1 tight needle to this point oppositely. Then I insert into the appropriate space where the chain is, look, and knit the treble crochet. I also inserted into the chained point here and knitted 1 or 2 tight needles to this point. Now look, the mutual intermediate spaces coincide. I am also inserting 2 tight needles, hiding this short yarn, 1 to this point. Let's hide the yarn too, 2 tight stitches. Now look, when I look back, a row with a gap is coming, a row of treble crochet comes here again. Treble crochet point coincides now. When we check the row, we will continue this color with the opposite color. There is treble crochet on one side, there is a gap on the other side. What will we do now, since it is like this? I pull 1 chain here again in the transition. Look, treble crochet appears in front. I immediately enter its body, I enter its wide gap. Then I enter the gap here and knit 1 or 2 tight stitches in this part. In fact, the logic of the process I do on this side is exactly the same. I pull 1 chain, now there is a gap in front. Look, I enter the wide gap. On this side, the treble crochet coincides. I immediately enter the treble crochet and knit 2 tight stitches at this point where I entered. I knit. Then I pull 1 chain in the transition. Now the treble crochet comes. Look, I entered the gap where the treble crochet is, and here comes the wide gap of 3 chains. We knit our 2 tight stitches at this point, then 1 more chain. Now the gap coincides, and I'm taking the railing here as well. And I knitted 2 tight stitches at this point. Look at a chain. The knitting continues in the same way. Now the treble clef has come across. The opposite side also corresponds to a gap. Here I will knit these short threads by hiding them. Look at the extra ends. I will have cleaned them and removed them. Let's cut these extra threads with scissors. You can hide the threads at this stage. You can also hide them at the colored point. You can continue by hiding the threads. Now we will continue as we described. When we come to the corner, we will do exactly the same process here and do the same processes on the opposite side as we did here, because the treble clef points always correspond to each other and again the gaps. Look, while passing 2 single crochets, pull a chain here and do the same process here and come to the end part here. Let's share the next transition with you. Look, we started from the end part here, we finished our joining here, we completed it at the base, we made the same turn in the corner again, and by inserting these in between as we did on the opposite side, we came to the last end part here. Now, after knitting 2 single crochets and 1 chain in the space in between, I insert to the top of the last single crochet on the front piece and insert into the intermediate space on the opposite piece. I will knit 2 single crochets to this point again. I come to the same space again and knit my second single crochet. Now after knitting 2 single crochets to this point, I will pull a chain like this. Now look at the mouth part. This is the mouth opening part of our bag. We will frame this point with a row of single crochets. Now I am hiding this short thread and inserting into the intermediate space. Look, the body where the double crochet is. I insert into the wide space the first single crochet to the same point. I knit the second single crochet. I come to the intermediate space here. Look, I come to the chain space here and again to this point. 1 or 2, I knit 1 single crochet and then I insert into the body of the double crochet. Look, I come to the wide space between these double crochets and hide the short yarns at this stage. I continue with 2 single crochets in the intermediate space again. Look, we will hide these short yarns as well. I separate the double crochet like this and look, I knit 1 or 2 single crochets to this point. Now I will continue by knitting 2 single crochets into the space that has come, and in this way I will have made the transformation and come to the point I started. Now look, after knitting our 2 single crochets into this intermediate space, I insert into the top space of the single crochet of the point we made a connection here. In other words, I insert into this intermediate space so that there is both integrity in the transition. I also hide the short yarns at this stage. One single crochet to this point, then we move on to the other piece and immediately insert 2 single crochets into the gap, and then the treble crochet body comes, again by knitting 2 single crochets in the same way. Look, we have made a single crochet frame at the mouth of our bag. Now I am making transitions as I showed. At this point, look, I am knotting these short threads once so that they do not open when we hide them, etc. Now let's come to the end part here. Then let's move on to the ruffle point. By the way, look, we have come to the end of our row now. Since I have hidden the threads here enough, now I will cut and remove the excess threads at this point because I had already secured them by knotting, as I showed you. Now look, at this point I am also inserting the point where we made this joining connection. I am securing this point by removing the loop and slipping. Now at this point I will pull a chain like this, and look, the flat part of the single crochets is here, like this from the reverse side, that is. I will continue from this side, look, like this. We have also passed the mouth part regularly, completely with single crochets. I want to show it like this. Now we will continue to make our pleats from here. We will continue to knit the pleats by knitting one plain and one reverse. For this I am pulling my 1, 2, 3 chains. I wrapped it with a hook right in the corner. Look here, I am knitting double treble crochets by inserting the single crochet we knitted in vain. Look, I came to a single treble crochet, 2 and 3, we had 2 single crochets here. Let's remember, I am coming to the top of the second single crochet. We had knitted our single crochets in this space. Again, we knit 3 double crochets into this space, that is the space of the single crochet. We will use double crochets while making the pleat here. We will prepare our knitting with double crochets. I am filling the squinch. We have a chain space in between. Look, I am knitting 3 double crochets again by sinking into this space. I wrap the chain to this point. After knitting 3 treble crochets, we have 2 tight crochets here. We insert them into the tops of the tight crochets and knit 3 double treble crochets to the points here so that we can make the ruffle point here. Look, I come to the next tight crochet. I knit 3 double treble crochets again. I fill 2 and 3. I come to the 1 chain space in between and knit 3 double treble crochets again. Look, we will knit 3 treble crochets each time on the tight crochets here, and the 1 chain spaces again, knitting 3 double treble crochets. Continue like this. We will continue knitting like this. We will make a complete frame. The tight crochets and chain points are quite clear. Now we started from here. Look, we are progressing by knitting our triple treble crochet groups to each point. There is no chain in between because my yarn is dark. I hope you understand. Look, as I said, there are 2 tight crochets. There is a chain in between. This is the same at the other points. There is a chain and 2 tight crochets in between in the other points, exactly the same way, this way, the ruffles. Let's come to the point where we can find our crochet in this way. Let's share it with you right here in the turn. We started from the end here and continued by knitting our crochets in that shape. And after making a sinking at the last point here, we pull 1, 2, 3 chains and turn our knitting in reverse. Now look, we will continue in reverse and there is no increase in this order. We will knit 1 crochet to the top of each crochet. I come to the first space. I knitted 1 double crochet immediately. I am filling it. Look at the next space. We will continue by knitting 1 double crochet to the top of each crochet in the second row until, look, up to the end part here. Now let's knit 1 crochet to each. We continue in a U shape. Look, let's come to this end. Look, we came to the other end part. Now we had a point of 3 chains here. We knit our last crochet by sinking into the wide space of this point and pull a 2, 3 chain and turn the knitting to the other side again. Again in this order. Look, I sink to the first point that comes and start knitting the crochets again. There is no increase in this row. We will continue until the end of the row by knitting 1 crochet to the top of each crochet. Since we made the increases in the first row, we have achieved enough fluctuation, so we complete the ruffle point by sinking 1 in each of the last 2 rows, again sinking 1 in each point, and at the end of the row, we will have finished. Look, we have come to the 3rd row of our ruffle. I am sinking into the last wide chain space here. I knit my crochet and pull a chain. At this point, I cut my yarn about 5 centimeters and tighten it directly after the chain. We will hide this yarn later. Now I will move on to making the handle part, but look, the knitting of our bag is complete. The last thing left is the handle part. Look, the ruffles turned out really nice. Now I will tell you the length of our bag in its finished form. This is the best 40 centimeters of our best bag. This is also the length of the bag, which is 38 centimeters. We have completed our bag, which is 40 by 38 centimeters. If you want, you can line your bag after placing the handle. In fact, we will now knit the handles. Look, I had knitted and prepared it beforehand. You can also put fabric on your handle if you want. Lining can be done so that it does not sag. You can also line the handle, as I said. But if you want, you can start using it this way. This is entirely up to your taste. Now look, I started with 8 double crochets here and continued knitting until I had 45 rows. Now I want to give you the size of our handle. When I hold the length of my handle like this, it is 52 centimeters long. The width is also 3 centimeters thick. You can make the size of your handle as much as you want. This is completely up to your taste. You can make it longer or shorter. I made it with these measurements because I wanted it to stay under my arm. Now look how we do this. I want to describe it to you briefly. At the beginning there are long threads like this. We will use them to sew. I leave some long thread at the beginning so that I can mount it on my bag. Here, after making my first chain lock, I start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 chains again. Look, after pulling my 9 chains, I will work 8 double crochets. 9 chains. How many double crochets will you make? Let's chain in that number of double crochets. You need to pull 1 plus 1 chain turn. Now I turn the reverse part of the chain. Again, as we did at the beginning, leaving the last chain, inserting into the back cut line of the other chain, I first knit 1 single crochet at the beginning and then I pull a chain. This gives me 1 double crochet. I fill with the hook. I took off the loop by inserting into the back cut line of the next chain. You have 3 stitches and a double crochet. I am knitting the treble crochet in this way. Do I get 8 treble crochets with my starting point until the end of the row? Let's knit it quickly like this. The endings and beginnings are important here. Actually, it is normal and classic. We will knit our treble crochet rows. Not only the beginning is with a chain, but we will create our treble crochet point with a single crochet and a chain. I am inserting into the last point and knitting the double treble crochet. Now look, let's count. With this treble crochet point, I have obtained 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 treble crochet points. Now what do I do when I go up? I stretch my stitch and turn my knitting backwards. And I took out a stitch by inserting into the first space that comes. I knit 1 treble crochet, then I pull a chain and look. I have started with a double treble crochet. I wrapped it around my hook and I am inserting into the next space that comes and knitting the double treble crochet. Now I insert into each space. We will knit our double treble crochets by sinking with this point. We will have obtained 8 double treble crochets again together with the starting point. Now in the last part, look, I knitted the treble crochet. I am filling. We have a chain here, a single crochet, a chain. I am sinking in this 1 chain. I am knitting the double treble crochet again. Look, a single crochet, a chain, and 7 treble crochets. We have made a total of 8 treble crochets in this way. Let's show it one more time. I am stretching the stitch. I turned my knitting. I went up with a single crochet by sinking into the first space that came. This is a good start. Look, now I knitted 45 rows in this way by sinking the spaces that came in order, as I said in the last part, sinking into the chain. 45 rows gave me a measurement of 52 centimeters. This may vary for you. You can obtain different measurements than the measurements I gave, even if we use the same yarn and the same hook size. Your measurement may be less or more. This will change depending on our knitting tightness and looseness. I am filling, see a tight needle and a chain. I am inserting a chain and knitting the 8th treble crochet here. You can make this handle wider. This number is completely up to you. Now we are preparing both handles in this way. When finishing, I am pulling 1 chain. I am leaving a long yarn again. I am breaking my yarn as in the beginning. Look, if I were to show the handle like this, I have yarns to sew on both sides. Now I have prepared my handles as I described to you. Look, we have 3 dark colored dots. This dark one will remain in the middle. It will coincide with the 2 side points on the handles. Look, by sewing like this, let's quickly assemble our handle to our bag with an étamine needle. We completed our bag by sewing it to our handle. I completed my bag by using 3 balls of brown yarn from 5 colors and 4 balls of dark color. Our recipe was like this. I hope you like it and try it. I wish good luck to those who will do it. Don't forget to like our video, leave a comment and subscribe to our channel. Goodbye until we see you in the next video.